What's up, everyone? This is Blue with SDGT Entertainment, and thank you for joining me for this Q&A with Only by Midnight Team, Jen and Andrew. I thank you too for joining me for this Q&A, and I'd like to start off with the first question of how did your team come together?
Hi, my name is Jen LaFace. I'm one part of Only by Midnight with my business partner and husband, Andrew Charneski, and it's great to be here answering questions. Well, the origin story is that we met in university at a computing science lab out of all places. We dated, got married, and fast forward 2 years ago, we started working on Curve Space, and then we incorporated our company. And it's a bringing together of different type of expertise.
Yeah, I've been making serious games for about 15 years, and these last 2 years has just been a joy to work with Jennifer and just kind of put those skills together for pure joy of making a game.
That's awesome, especially with you guys coming together and getting married to someone else that's in the industry because you understand the ins and outs and the time that needs to be put in, the focus and so forth. And what better way to do that than with someone that is not only part of your team in game development but also in marriage. That's really cool. So, secondly, what would you say your 5 core values are that best represent your studio?
So, what are the 5 core values of our company?
Well, one of them is making engaging and fun games that we have people coming back to and playing again and again.
We also want to build them in a sustainable fashion.
And we want to be genuine. We want to take something that, comes from our heart and share it with the world.
And we want to take on challenging tasks. We want to give you something that you haven't seen before.
Well, and an important one is lifting people up. And I know it's crucial one for both of us, but it's being positive and making a positive contribution within, our own company and the community at large as well.
Those definitely sound like 5 solid core values. And on that note, what would you say the motivation is behind Curve Space?
So Curve Space started way back in the day as a prototype exploring retro 2D arcade mechanics mapped to a 3D surface. And it was kind of fun to play. I thought I had an actual game, but really I had more of a mechanic, and so entered Jennifer.
And it was taking that and trying to find a way, so why are you there? What is the motivation? And what is to keep you playing? And the first thing that came to mind was trans-temporal space fighters, and then we totally went from there, and this is Curve Space.
I think it was wise that you were able to see that you had a gameplay mechanic versus a full game and trying to push out and sell more so a concept. And I'm sure other gamers can appreciate that so that we could actually get the full gameplay experience versus just a concept and then later on, okay, here's that concept in greater detail. Now by this game as well. So it will allow your company to gain more confidence from customers because we know that you aren't just pushing a concept, you're developing a game around it or building a game from that versus just the mechanics. So, third question. What are 2 elements about your game that will keep players coming back for more?
Well, we've got a solid gameplay loop. It's fun to play. There's a ton of weapons. There's a lot of interesting enemies and some environments like we've never seen before. And so it's a fun experience.
And another part of that is the different modes, especially story mode, which is a choose your own adventure flavor. So you have a main character, and you get different perspectives of her as you play through. And you can play through one time, and then you can go back and play through again and make some different decisions to see some different elements of the game.
I definitely think that one aspect of games that gets overlooked when it comes to replay value is being able to take a different route. That's definitely something keeps gamers coming back for more, even if it isn't necessarily one of those aspects that is focused on when it comes to replay value. So, Jennifer, as a woman in the game industry, do you feel like female protagonists get a good variety of personalities and roles in games?
I find that it's getting to be more and more. I started out playing on a Nintendo Entertainment System. My mom entered me for a contest and I won one, and I started with my love with games from there. And it's through that evolution, seeing all the different characters and playing games, like most recently Transistor, Celeste, Child of Light. You're noticing more and more that the female characters, the protagonists, all have their own personalities. They own it. It's, they have their own motivations to make their own decisions, and they live with the consequences. And I think just with the nature of indie development and just kind of how the media has changed as well, and just our awareness of things, it's going to be more and more and more. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about seeing different perspectives, female protagonists, different characters, different backgrounds, and I think there's still more to do, but it's getting there, and that's exciting.
So speaking of our protagonists, would we be able to expect one in Curse Space?
Well, Curse Space, the main character is a female protagonist, and you get to see kind of three different personalities of her, kind of more of a me, myself, and I thing. I mean, she's a space miner, energy farmer, spider wrangler, and each part of her makes decisions, has different motivations, and there's consequences for that. And yeah, we're excited to share that with you.
You know what's funny about that? Going back to the previous question, based on the roles that are generally played by female protagonists, and the general look of the female protagonist, I had no idea that she was a female character. But that goes to show how narrow things can be when it comes to female protagonists. So, for those of you tuning in, the main character of Curse Space is a female protagonist, which is pretty cool. So, next question I'd like to ask. Would you say that developers should have some sort of experience with gaming prior to joining the industry?
I think it's generally a good idea. If someone's excited about games, that excitement's going to carry into the product. Now, it really does depend on the roles. If you have that lead designer, I would expect that lead designer to be passionate about games, to have a thorough depth of knowledge, to really understand games. That back-end programmer who's really excited about algorithms, well, maybe he's just happy to hook up the database. But at the end of the day, if everyone on the team is excited about making a game and understands how that game fits into the context of just the marketplace of games, the marketplaces of ideas in this space, it's just going to be a better experience overall. It's just going to be a better product.
And building off of what Andrew talked about with experience, there's something about playing a game and playing different types of games. You kind of bring that to the table to go through these experiences. Because you start asking, well, why do they choose this? Well, what is this? What is that? And you develop a keener, more critical eye. And that also goes with consuming other media. Like there's books, there's comics and graphic novels, television shows, films. And you take all that in your experience and you bring it to designing and making games. But I do think playing games and knowing what's out there is really important for developing them.
So for those of you tuning in and you have an interest in developing games, definitely try to soak all this in, because for me, and I'm sure for other gamers, I think it's imperative for developers that have some sort of experience with games, because it doesn't really make any sense to really jump into something that you aren't passionate about. And the gamers are gonna ultimately feel that, that you aren't passionate about that game. It's just something that you threw together to make money on. So definitely try to soak up this information, and even if you're part of the industry, bring in people that are passionate about it and try to, vibe with them and get a feel of their passion, and don't push that team to be anything other than passionate about developing your game or your team's game.
Yeah, especially when you get down to design, like there's no brand new ideas created in a vacuum. Everything is based on, is riffing on, is remixing something. So the more exposure you have, the greater your depth of knowledge, just the more you can draw on, and the more creative you can ultimately be.
And you can also, with that, by exploring other mediums, you can start going, well, where can I go with games? Where can I push the envelope? Well, and that those questions, what is this, what is that? And like Andrew was saying, it's not moving the vacuum. It's great for anything. You're taking in information, you're thinking about it, you're even sleeping on it, and you're coming up with something. I think that's really cool.
There's definitely solid responses that I believe will make a positive impact on aspiring developers. So, silly question, but if you're on an island for a year and could only have 3 meals, what would...
But if you were on an island for a year and could only have 3 meals, what would they be?
Well, one of them would have to be the chocolate chip banana bread from the local Hazeldean bakery. If you guys are ever in Edmonton, check them out. That stuff is like crack, and I seriously could eat an infinite amount of it. I don't know how that works. After that, damn good question. I don't know. I really like some sort of like pseudo Tex-Mexy sort of stuff, some sort of nachos or tacos-y, something like that. I think that would have to be on that list. And you know what? Sushi. I'd love to just have sushi. It seems a little bit indulgent to eat it for a year, but I won't complain at all.
That's kind of crazy that you would mention chocolate chip banana bread, because I'm actually trying out these bars that are chocolate banana. So that's pretty funny. And what about you, Jen?
Well, I am going to make those 3 meals count. I'm going to start with pizza. I love pizza. I kind of like what goes on with Blaze, where they kind of make it in front of you. They put meat, cheese, sauce, veggies, maybe not in that order. They cook it and you can top it with arugula and pesto, and that is...
I love how her dream pizza involves arugula. Classic.
It's great stuff. You have to get your veggies in. And as a drink, I probably have a cold Virgil root beer, and then I would have for dessert. I was thinking about that here. I'd have a cruffin. It is like a croissant made into a muffin and stuffed with coconut and dipped in chocolate from a local place called Rio, which is in Edmonton. An awesome place to check out. My second meal, I would agree with Andrew, and I would totally go for something Mexican. There's a place, El Cortez, and you can I like tacos. I like kind of variety, spice it up. You can have like beef, chicken, pork. As for a drink, I have Jarritos, the full flavored, and then I would have for dessert probably churros with dulce de leche, if I'm saying it right. And then my third meal. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, there's so many good things out there.
Come join me with the sushi.
Yeah, I would totally join Andrew with the sushi. You do have to get your vegetables in, so there are some sides. So I would say like the ultimate bento box, but with like sashimi. And then you've got like your tempura, your deep fried stuff, and then you have like a salad and your miso soup. So I'm going all the way. Oh, I wanted to work coffee in. So I'll have to say coffee at this point here. Something like
Well,
just regular
coffee's
coffee.
a given. We're game developers,
Okay,
and if the entire company doesn't run on
okay.
caffeine, it's...
So I would say green tea then. A good green tea. And for dessert, oh, what would I have for dessert? You know what? I'm just going to go all out there and say one of my favorite ones is chocolate ice cream with peanut butter ripple. Or I would like chocolate ice cream with my peanut butter ripple, please.
Yes, Jen definitely made her 3 meals count. And I'm totally with you on the pizza. You can have a variety of toppings, and I just love pizza. I'm not a huge fan of sushi. I don't really eat it that often, but I can see how that would be a choice because, again, you can switch things up with it. It's one of those meals that has so many options. I don't think you would really be missing anything. And Tex-Mex is definitely a great choice also. So I think you guys would be okay. So next question. Any words of wisdom for aspiring developers?
So I've seen a lot of kids come out of school thinking that, hey, cool, I've done these various courses and I'm now an expert in game design and programming and animation and all of these things, and it's a disaster. At the end of the day, you need practice, you need context, and the best way to really do that is to find some group that is doing something you're interested in, where you can find some mentors who can help you along the way. And I've been very fortunate in my career. I've had some amazing mentors who have really helped show me and help kind of guide me along the process of learning programming, of learning design, of learning project management, all of these sort of fundamental skills. Like I'm kind of going out there on a limb now, and let's do this whole indie life. Let's go make a video game just on its own. This is weird and terrifying, but I'm doing that with 15 years of experience. I would recommend find a company, find a team that are doing something interesting. Attach yourself to that. Yeah, that's basically the key thing.
So building off of Andrew, and I do agree with finding mentors. That can certainly help, and that can even fast track you as well. And paying your dues. You go and you work for a company, and you learn how they do things, how that fits with you. At the end of the day, it's also doing. You have to take small steps, even if you're afraid or overthinking things. Like, where do I go with this? You have to do the small steps. Indecision or delaying is still a decision. And by taking those small steps, it's the leap, and you get that confidence. You go, okay, well, this is how this is. Or this does this. This does that. The more exposure and the faster you start that exposure to learning a new career or a new task, that all builds up over time, and things don't usually happen overnight. And it's that persistence in that intention.
This is definitely solid information because there are graduates who come out and, granted you're excited about graduation and what life has to offer after finishing college. You have to understand that there's going to be work and a grind that takes place to get you to where you need to go. So, having this type of information can help students go a long way, as well as graduates. And those who may have graduated, I'd say, years ago and need the right words of encouragement to get over that hump. So, any closing words for this?
Curse Base was a lot of fun to make, and we hope you'll all have a lot of fun playing it. It does some things a little bit differently. It's got a ton of crazy weapons, crazy enemies, and environments like you've never seen before. Has an awesome soundtrack. Seriously, the guys at Fix Neon have been amazing. You should check them out. So stop by. You'll have fun.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a fast-paced, fun game, and hearing the music, it definitely gets you into the zone. So, what about you, Jen? Any closing words?
it's fun to play. It's on different environments where you're zipping up, you're on a ceiling, shooting a spider, you're back down again, and it's something different yet familiar. And it takes that 2D gameplay to a different level with being on a 3D surface, and you have to choose your own adventure. It's good times. So I hope you check us out. We've got a Steam store up. We'll be on Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. Yeah, and thanks for listening.
And so there you have it, folks. This has been Blue with SDGT Entertainment, bringing you another Q&A with the Only by Midnight team, Jen and Andrew. I thank them for joining me for this Q&A, and not only presenting the game, but also presenting insight for aspiring developers. As you guys know, we do what we can to bridge the gap between gamer and developer, and this interview is another prime example of that. So feel free to check out Curse Phase on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And until next time, game on.